Hey guys, it's Her Beauty. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about real ways to practice self-love. And I know there are a lot of surface level things, a lot of different ways that you can practice self-love physically. I really want to get into some of the inner work, and I did a poll. You guys asked if this is what you really want to see on my channel, and so I'm going to be producing more content that relates to self-love. And basically I want to share with you guys all of the things that helped me out throughout my self-love journey, which is continuously ongoing, and hopefully it helps you guys as well. If you're new to my channel, welcome, and be sure to hit that subscribe button and hit that little bell notification so that you're notified for my new posts. And if you guys enjoy this video or you have any other tips to share with me, be sure to leave it in the comment section down below so that I can read it and everybody else who reads the comments can read it as well. To get started, I really want to talk about diet. And as many of you know, I have been vegan for quite a few years now, and I originally went vegan for my health. So it was really focusing on whole food, plant-based diets, having a lot more fruits and vegetables, being sure that I'm obviously hydrating more, and just putting things into my body which I felt good about, things that I knew it caused a lot less harm to not only the animals that I used to eat, to the planet and to my own body. I've been doing extensive research on veganism, and it's just been the best diet for me. The best way for me to really feel good about what I was eating and in turn feel good about myself, because I knew I wasn't contributing to something that I didn't feel good about. And so I eat lots more plants, and in turn it's been helping my mental health on an insane level. Something that really got to me when I was first learning about changing my diet to more of a plant-based one was that energy is never destroyed, only transferred. And when I think about it, when I think of how when I used to eat meat, the way that factory farming works, the way that the animals are slaughtered and they're tortured and they're kept in cages, I didn't want to contribute to that. I didn't want that energy being transferred to me. I honestly don't even want that energy to exist anywhere in my space. So that's why I moved towards a plant-based diet where at least I know that I'm not consuming conscious beings. So that was the first sort of step to kick off my self-love journey. The next tip I have for you guys is about changing our self-talk. So if you are clicking on this video, you may or may not have experienced negative self-talk. And with negative self-talk, it really changes your mood. It makes you feel unworthy of anybody's love, anybody's time. And so what was really important to me is to obviously alter my subconscious to make sure that every single time I caught myself thinking of myself, it was positive things, not things that would bring me down. And we realized that we are our own biggest competitions. We're our own biggest enemy. And so as soon as I realized that, I started changing the way that I spoke about myself. So the way to do this is basically in the early morning, as soon as you wake up, or 15 minutes before you're about to go to sleep, is usually when I meditate. And when I go through my meditation, I start off with things that I'm grateful for. It can be 3 things. It could be until you run out of things to list that you're grateful for. And so once you go through that, you continue breathing, and then you start bringing in the positive affirmations. So I like to say that I'm so full of loving kindness, and that I'm worthy of love, and that I am accepted. I'm so loved by others. I'm so loved by myself. Like, I just continuously go through all of these kind things. And I go through it until I've just run out of loving things to say, and by that point I'm probably falling asleep or almost falling asleep. And the more that you get into this routine, the more you need to do it every day. Of course, try to do it twice a day if you're new to it, or you notice that you do have a lot of negative self-talk. And the more that you get onto this routine of positive self-talk, the more that you're able to believe it. And so you'll go throughout the day and you'll catch yourself still saying these positive affirmations about yourself, still thinking these things about yourself. And it's a really good feeling to know that your own mind is also on your side now. And it's really also good to do this in the mirror, say when you wake up, just to go through all of the attributes and features on your face, on your body, things you love about yourself, like, oh, I love my smile, I love my piercings, I love my eyes. Whatever you love about yourself, tell yourself in the mirror. That is incredibly important. Make sure that you cherish yourself as if like the goddess or god that you are. So I mentioned meditation in my last point, and I sort of wanted to carry that one over for the next point, yoga and meditation. And as many of you may know, I am a yoga teacher. So basically yoga is what helped me on my spiritual journey. And with that, meditation has also helped me just become more mindful of the way that I spoke to others, the way that I spoke to myself, and just the way I perceive the world in general. Yoga sort of helps you go through the fluid movements and helps you sort of stay present, because you need to be mindful when you're practicing where to put your foot or where to move your arm or how your energy flows and what to focus on. And so if you're super new to meditation, that I definitely recommend learning to practice yoga, whether it's just for sun salutations or moon salutations or a random flow you find on my channel. Then it's really helpful because it sort of gets you into the frame of mind of how to practice. And so it's basically unifying the mind, body, and soul. And with that, it helps you become one into yourself. It helps you learn how to treat yourself with gentleness and kindness, and understand that everything that we do or say or feel is all connected with everything else, connected with nature, the universe, or the source, or whatever you believe in. So yoga is a really beautiful practice to get into if you're still learning how to do something for yourself that'll positively affect you. With yoga, it's really nice because it's also an exercise. You can practice it as an exercise or stretch, but it's something that you can get into if, say, you aren't super physically active, and it's a practice for anybody. It's a practice that anybody can slowly ease themselves into to help not only get more physically fit, but also to get your mind more fit. So yeah, yoga is a great practice. My next tip is setting boundaries. This one is probably the hardest, not only for setting boundaries, but for keeping the boundaries. And that's definitely something that I still struggle with today, but by becoming more self-aware of it, we're able to sort of create it so that we are able to communicate that this is what we need in order to keep our space safe. So when you learn to love yourself, you realize that you don't tolerate certain behavior from certain people. You don't tolerate behavior or certain behaviors from anybody, even if they are your family, if they are your friends, if they treat you with disrespect or they treat you with harm or any toxicity that they have. Setting boundaries is really important for you to realize that you deserve to be loved and treated the way you would treat yourself. And it's difficult to keep boundaries because when you're trying to keep these boundaries with people who have always treated you a certain way, family or friends, you want to be more lenient because you love them. And what it's really important to realize is that you still have to look out for number one. You can't pour from an empty cup. When you pour from an empty cup, what does that leave you? So by realizing, okay, setting boundaries and keeping them is going to make me a much better person, and it's going to help me help others even more than I was ever able to. That's sort of what you have to take into consideration when you ever feel guilty for setting boundaries for yourself. A simple and probably one of the hardest boundaries to set is not to say yes when you want to say no. And that's super hard for, I know, many people, probably most people, but when you do that, you're literally just saying, screw how I feel, I need to do this for them, but it's not going to make you feel good inside. And that's just completely like neglecting yourself. It's just taking away from your own comfort. And by learning to say yes when you mean yes and no when you mean no, it's super helpful for making you and your feeling validated, and making sure that you're expressing yourself and setting what needs to be set boundary-wise. My next tip is learning to become vulnerable. Now, this is super tricky for those of you who are like me, who don't like to ask for help, but it is incredibly important. For me, when I was at like the absolute lowest point I've ever been at, I literally would not want to talk to anybody. I wouldn't want to open up to anybody. I didn't want to like put that on anyone. I just like completely shut down And what was my turning point was realizing, okay, I need some help. I need to ask someone for help. And that's literally when I sought out an online therapist so I could at least, if I couldn't express it to anybody else around me, I'm at least expressing it to a professional. I'm typing this out. I am telling them what is on my mind, what I feel, in order to not only resolve, get a solution, figure out how to process my emotions, but also to help myself be more open to help. And asking for help is probably the hardest, most helpful things we can do. It's really important to realize that we are one single person, and doing everything on your own is, I'm sure you want to say that it's possible and it's easy, but it's not. And we want to be strong and we want to be this independent person, but what we don't realize is that real strength comes from vulnerability. You know how much strength it takes for you to say, okay, I can't do this on my own, to admit that I can't do everything. I can't do everything. And by being able to admit that, okay, I can't do everything, I would love some help, or I need to go seek out help, is incredibly vital to your self-love journey. And even if this is not going out and seeking professional help, even if it's speaking with your friends because it's just a small issue that you just can't tackle on your own, super important. Seeking out to your parents, anybody who you love and trust, being able to open up with them and express your emotions is like way up here, self-love. My next tip is basically making promises to yourself. I like to do this, especially when I'm feeling very lazy. And if I'm ever going through just an episode where I just don't feel motivated at all, I don't feel inspired, I don't feel good. And so I love to do this self-love thing when I'm not feeling 100%. And so what I do basically is I'd promise to keep one routine in my everyday. No matter what, I will do it. And so for me, that was my skincare routine, among like brushing my teeth and hopefully showering every day. But when you go through certain like depression episodes or super anxious sometimes in your life, you feel so out of control. And so I like to keep something the same. So I make a promise to myself that, okay, every single morning, every single night, I will do my skincare routine, no questions asked. Every single morning, every single night, I will brush my teeth and I will shower, no questions asked. And so I keep certain things that will never change, because I know that when I'm going through the worst points in my life, that I especially need these self-care routines in my life. They're most important when you're going through the crappiest times. So for me, being able to keep those promises to myself that, okay, these, no matter what I do, I will keep these 3 things on a constant basis, as what disciplines me and what helps me keep my self-love journey as a priority. So what I recommend is to make 3 promises to yourself, or even start off with one small promise to yourself, to make sure that you keep it in your routine to prioritize yourself. So we talked about diet a little bit earlier in the video, but another important thing to consider on your self-love journey is not only what you're consuming through your mouth, but what you're consuming like visually, like what you guys are watching, what you are looking through on social media. Who are you following? Are you guys following people that uplift you and make you feel good? Or are you following people who always have something negative to say? Or are you following people who make you feel bad about yourself? Are the people who you're following uplifting? Do they make you feel good? Do they make you feel inspired? Inspired to continue on to your positive lifestyle, your self-love journey? Or are they making you feel like you're constantly comparing yourself? You feel like you should be at a certain point in your life because of how old you are, or because of how much you've accomplished in school. What are you following and how are they making you feel? Now, that is incredibly important, because we definitely live in a society where we tend to get everything really fast at us. Everything comes at us fast. We think that we're supposed to make it and become a millionaire at 20 because we see like 120-year-olds who are millionaires for one viral video, or millionaires because of whatever they did. We need to realize that every single person is on a different path, which is not our own. We can either use social media to help us push forward, or we can use it to keep us down and trapped in this sort of negative comparing mind frame. And so the more that we use social media as a positive tool in order to succeed, as opposed to a tool that is something to bring us down, is what we need to really be aware of. And this is really important too, because we don't usually take breaks from social media as much as we should. I know that since I do work in social media, it's kind of hard to just delete all my apps because I need to be on them every single day. But understanding that we need to have a balance, that there needs to be a balance of how much we're consuming, watching, tweeting, everything that we do versus how many times we take breaks to go out into nature and to just be present, is taken into consideration for our self-love journey. And I think this is going to be my final tip, but it is more geared towards creativity and finding your purpose or passion in life. And I find that this is super important because we are such authentic individuals, and we all just have like unique thoughts and a different path of where we're each going. And so by taking time for us to focus on our own purpose in life, our what makes us feel creative, what makes us feel excited, if it's like painting or if it's doing math, like whatever it is that you're super passionate about, that you feel good about, even if you're not the best in the world, it just makes you happy by sitting there and doing that, or by going outside and like skateboarding. Find that one thing that makes you happy that you can do whenever you're feeling like you just need to get out. You need to get out of your head, you need to get away from your overthinking. Find that one thing that is for you. I think that's everything that I want to share with you guys. Hopefully this all made sense. I know I do ramble a lot, and so I just talk and talk, but I hope you all enjoyed this video. Be sure to leave a comment down below, give me a thumbs up, and check out my social media. I will be posting it all on the screen and down below. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!